What's up, savages? This video is going to be really helpful if you're trying to differentiate yourself in the back. You have less time than ever to stand out when you're trying to sell to people. And there's data that proves it. So what I'm going to walk you through is a simple 4-step process so that you become a master of your domain, establish yourself as a trusted advisor, and really differentiate yourself in the sales cycles so that you can win more deals. Then after I walk through the 4-step process, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example of how you can use this to quickly differentiate yourself in the first interaction with the client. So let's dig in. So the first thing I want you to understand is just how precious or how little margin for error that you really have when trying to stand up in the crowd. So what you're looking at is a pie chart. And in the pie chart, what this is the buying time. So think about buying time is like this. If I'm trying to solve a problem and I'm looking at a solution, this is the total amount of hours I'm going to look into making a decision around a solution, okay? So now that you understand this whole pie, what's this? This 17%, according to Harvard Business Review, states that only 17% of my buying time is going to be spent with potential vendors. So if I'm spending 10 hours to try to solve a problem, less than 2 of them are going to be spent actually meeting with potential vendors. Think about that for a second. So I'm doing so much more of my research before I even speak to the vendors. So that's bad enough as it is. To make it even harder on you, how many people am I going to be meeting with when I'm trying to solve for this problem? Very rarely do companies only talk to one vendor. They're talking to 2, 3, even 4. So if I'm a buyer and I'm going to talk to 3 different vendors, and in less than 2 hours is going to be spent actually meeting with them, then you may only have 30 minutes to stand out in that situation. So this is how important it is. Now the beauty of this, now that you understand the problem, let's talk about how powerful the solution is. I just stumbled on a study the other day that stated the 100-hour rule. So the 100-hour rule is very beautiful. And it states this: if you spend 100 hours learning or doing anything, you're going to be better than 95% of people out there. So if you think about what that is on a daily basis, you can chunk that out. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. And very quickly, over a period of time, you can become better than 95% of people out there, which of course is going to help you win more deals, stand out. So now that you understand the impact and how you can do it in an easy, digestible way, here's the 4-step process. Now this is going to be a combination of new school and old school, but it works. So don't try to reinvent the wheel here. So the first thing you're going to do is identify what the top trends are in your space. So when you think about the top trends, this is where your favorite search engine can come into play. Google is your friend here. By simply Googling, what are the top trends in the manufacturing space in 2023? If that's your customer, if you sell a tech and your end buyers in the manufacturing space. So by simply doing that, you're going to get a lot of information to start to ingest. So pick the reputable sites that you want to take information from and start to look at it. Everyone loves to compile lists of the top whatever. Use that to your advantage to help you get a head start of what your industry and buyers are thinking about. The macroeconomic trends affects everybody, and your willingness to invest in learning the knowledge, this is a key point to help you stand out in the crowd. So top trends in your space, that's number 1. That'll help you get the conversation going, help you get the knowledge going from 0 to 1. Now to build on that, what I like to say is if study greatness, success leaves clues, as you've heard, I'm sure. So someone in your company, whether it's another rep, a leader, an executive, someone is very well aware of this. So what I like to say is buy their knowledge. By saying, hey, let me take you out to coffee. Let me grab lunch with you. I'm being my treat. And you simply sit down with them and say, hey, what are the top things in our customer space? What's going on in the industry? What are you hearing? What are they saying? That's going to go a long way to help you accelerate your learning curve by combining identifying lists of trends and bringing that to a conversation with a veteran someone who knows the industry better than you do, that's going to go a long way to help you up your knowledge and going from the 1 to 2, right? So studying greatness is going to be a great way for you to learn and really understand the nuances of what's going on. Now, to take it a step further, after you meet with people on your team, meet with your customers. Meeting with customers goes a long way because then you can really hear it in their language. What are the things that they're thinking about? And simply meeting with them and saying, hey, what are the top trends that you're struggling with or trying to figure out as you go into the new year? And you could simply position this as, hey, I'm trying to make sure I stay sharp in the industry knowledge. Because if you're a veteran and you're thinking, hey, I can't do this because only someone who's new to the business can come in and say, I don't know your industry. That's not true. It doesn't matter if you've been in the space for 10 years. Trends are always evolving. What's going on outside the four walls of your customers is always changing. So there's nothing wrong with going to your customers and saying, hey, I'm just trying to stay up with the latest and greatest so that I can serve you better. And think about it. If I'm your customer, wouldn't I want my vendor that I'm paying money to, wouldn't I want them to be really up to speed and on the cutting edge? Of course it would. It's in my best interest. So your customers want to help you, so don't feel like you can't approach them and meet with them, okay? So after you meet with your customers, what I recommend, just to make sure you're grasping everything, is test your knowledge. Meet with your peers, meet with your leadership team, and test and ask them to test you, just to make sure that you're really grasping the nuances of what's going on in the space. That's going to go a long way, just to make sure you feel confident and comfortable. Because you're not confident in the knowledge that you have, you're not going to come off that way when you're speaking to customers, and tonality is key when you meet with customers to establish yourself as a trusted advisor. So it doesn't need to be anything too fancy. It doesn't be any long essay, right? But something simple just to make sure you grasp it and have them give you your feedback before you start approaching your potential customers. Okay. So this is the list. Now that you understand the list of what to do, here's an example of how you can implement it. So I'm going to give you an example of the same question. One is the lazy way for a rep that doesn't know the industry, rep that didn't put in the work, rep that didn't do this 4-step process to learn this. And then I'm going to give you what a great rep would say when they're meeting with a potential customer to differentiate themselves extremely quickly. Because remember, time is of the essence. You don't have a lot of time to stand out from the crowd. So every interaction matters, especially the first one. So, lazy question answer, lazy question by a lazy rep. Hey, tell me about your top priorities in 2024. This is lazy. And if you're asking that question, you fall into this category, I hate to tell you, because you're putting all the work on your customer and you're not demonstrating you have any true knowledge of their space. There's a way better way to ask that question, that as you come off as a trusted advisor and come off as in you know their industry and know what's going on. So the lazy way, that's what are your top priorities going into 2024? Here's what the great rep's going to ask. Every time I meet with a CTO in the manufacturing space, what they're telling me is, they're worried about, how they can do artificial intelligence, implement it in a way that's going to complement their existing labor force. That's number one. Number two, they're trying to figure out how they can overcome supply chain disruption, both coming out of the pandemic and now we have international conflict. That's number two. And then number three, Internet of Things, right? How you can connect all the equipment that you have in a way that helps you streamline operations. Any of those top of mind for you, or is there something else that you're thinking about really trying to tackle going into 2024? Think about it. I'm asking the same question. I'm trying to get a sense of where their head's at. What are their top priorities, right? But one is lazy with no research, demonstrating no knowledge of their space. And two, shows that, hey, I speak to people just like you every day. I know your world. I know what people are thinking about, right? Now, I don't know exactly what's top of mind for you right now, but by asking an informed question, that's going to differentiate yourself, right? So simple things like this go a long way to differentiate yourself in the process, but it requires you putting in the work, understanding the top trends in the space, studying people that have been there, done that before, asking them what their customers are hearing. Don't be afraid to talk to your customers, test your knowledge internally, and use your knowledge to ask informed questions so you can have true conversational discovery to differentiate yourself in the process. So my homework to you is think about how you're doing this now and go through this and build this out for your organization. And you're going to go a long way to close more deals, cash more checks, and have more control over your destiny. So I hope this is helpful. My name is Justin J. Johnson. I'm the founder of the Beautiful Savage Sales Academy. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a note, but use this, burn it down, and I'll see you in the next video.